So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Now in today's video we're actually going to be looking at a formation that I haven't posted this year, I don't believe, and that is the 4-2-4. Now the reason we're looking at the 4-2-4 is because in the current state of this game, the way the meta is, a garbage meta by the way, this formation kind of ticks all the boxes on what's required to win games. So yeah, that's why we're going to be looking at this formation, and yeah, let's get right into the tactics guys. If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Alright then guys, so starting off with the tactics for the defensive style, we have this on balanced. Now the reason we have this on balanced is because it gives you the best control over your defense. So when you have this on balanced, you can pick and choose when and where you press your opponent, and then you can also decide if you want to drop back and be a little bit more passive. So balanced allows you more control, and when it comes to applying pressure guys, we will look at something in a moment which replaces having to use these pressure tactics, so it's best just to use balanced at the moment. Now moving on to the defensive width guys, at the moment I have this on 46. It's slightly higher than what I would normally use, and this is because a lot of people are obviously going down the wing for cutbacks, so it's important that we have enough width in the defense to cover those wider areas to maybe help prevent that, but we don't want to commit to a crazy high width like 60, because then you're sacrificing being nice and defensively sound in the middle just to cover the wider areas. So you want to have a bit of a balance where you can cover the narrow areas really well and you still have a nice compact defense, but you can also cover those wider areas in case your opponent goes down the wing. Now moving on to the depth guys, this is what I was on about when it came to the pressure tactics. So like I said, I suggest using balanced here, but on the new gen versions of the game, if you have your depth on 71 or higher, it is extremely broken. Basically what happens when you have your depth on 71 is you get this automatic press from the AI, and not only that, it also automatically overloads the ball side. It basically defends for you, and it also breaks your opponent's attacking AI. So it is very, very difficult to play against, a very broken tactic. And on top of this, unlike the pressure tactics, if you use this 71 depth, you'll notice you don't get an additional stamina drain on your players. So basically you can press all game and your players don't even get tired. So it's a very broken tactic, which I hope gets fixed, but right now, yeah, everyone is using this. Now moving on to the build-up play guys, I like to have this on balance. This is because it allows you to pick and choose which form of build-up you want to use whenever. So sometimes you might want to build up a little bit slower, other times you might want to speed it up and do fast build up. So having this on balance allows you to pick and choose when and where you use each form of build up, which is really, really nice. Now moving on to chance creation guys, this is an absolute must in my opinion, the way this game works. Direct passing. Now the reason direct passing is so important is because it's the only tactic which will actually make your attackers move in the correct ways. It's the only way they'll make dynamic runs, and it's the only way you'll actually create a lot of consistent chances in this game, especially because of like the park the bus meta and things like that. Direct passing, very important. You also get this thing where your attacking players will bunch up against the opposition defenders, meaning it's very easy to isolate a specific player and take him on in a 1v1 to create a chance. Now moving on to the attacking width guys, because the 4-2-4 is a wider formation, we do want to use a higher width than we would normally use for a narrow formation like the 4-2-3-1. So I would usually use a width like 45 for most narrow formations, but because this is a wider one, I have this on 55. You don't want to commit to having a crazy high width though, however, because your players just become way too spread out and it's actually very difficult to play passes. So you want to be wide but not too wide. Now moving on to players in box guys, I have this on 5. This is so we can get a few players into the box to finish off those chances, but we don't overcommit everybody on our team to the point where if we lose out on possession, we are not always going to get counter-attacked. As for corners and free kicks guys, this is down to preference, but I just have these both on 2. So I do have players in the box if I want to cross them, but then I can also take them short. So do whatever you want with this guys. Sorry to interrupt the video guys, but I have noticed around 90% of you that watch the content are not subscribed. So if you are finding finding any of these videos helpful, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it does help me out massively. Also, don't forget to drop the video a like as well. And with all that aside, guys, let's get back to the video. Now, moving on to the player instructions, guys, on both of my strikers, what I like to do is have them on stay central and mixed attack. Now, we have them on stay central because, like I said, they are our strikers, so we don't want these players drifting out into the wider areas. We don't need them to do that, especially since we've already got wingers. We want them to be in the middle. We want them to be in the best positions to finish off our chances, which is why stay central works really well. I also have them on mixed attack as opposed to getting behind, because I feel like you get a lot more out of the players on mixed attack. Sometimes they'll come short, other times they'll run in behind. Just seems to be a lot more fluid and a lot more creative in my opinion. So mixed attack works best for me. That being said, if you really like through balls and getting behind works better for you, don't be afraid to just use that instead. It's all about whatever works for you. Now, moving on to the wingers, guys, a very important instruction here, come back on defense. Now, the reason we use this on both the left and the right winger is because it will make this team defend in a 4-4-2 shape. Now, this is absolutely crucial in this game because the 4-4-2 is probably the best defensive shape in the game. If you look at this formation as a default, you will see there are a lot of gaps next to the two centre mids. So there's a lot of space down the wings for your opponent to exploit. But if you put these right wingers and left wingers on comeback on defense, they will come back to fill in those gaps. So we'll have a left mid and a right mid there, which makes it more difficult for your opponent to attack as you're covering both the narrow areas and the wide areas simultaneously. So comeback on defense is extremely important. We also have them on getting behind, so they do utilize their pace to get in behind the opponent and create as many chances as possible. And I also have these players on get into the box across, so they're not hesitant to get into the penalty area and to contribute in the box. Basically, it doesn't mean you have to cross it, just means they will actually contribute and make those runs. Now, moving on to the left centre mid, I do use a more defensive minded player. So on this player, we have him on stay back and cover centre. We have him on stay back because, like I said, this player is more defensive minded. So we don't want him going forward. We want him to stay back. We want to be as defensively sound as possible. So it's important you have at least one midfielder doing this. And then the cover centre instruction means he will primarily focus on covering those central areas because, like I said, we don't need this player to cover the wing as we have the left mid and right mid coming back to cover those areas. Now, moving on to the right centre mid, guys, I use a more box-to-box style midfielder. So on this player, I leave him on the default settings, and then I also have him on cover centre. Now, we have him on the default settings because, like I said, this is a more box-to-box style player. So we don't just want to restrict him to always defending. We want him to attack and defend and have a bit of a free roll. So we kind of just leave him alone and let him do his own thing. The only important thing is that we have him on cover centre for the exact same reason as the other centre mid, where he will primarily focus on covering those central areas as opposed to covering the wing. Now, for your more attacking minded fullback, I suggest just putting him on balanced attack. Now, in a lot of narrow formations, I will put this player on balanced overlap. Overlap being meaning he'll add extra width to the team. But because this is already a wide formation and we have wingers out wide, you don't always need this player to overlap and add that extra width. Sometimes you just need that extra body in attack to give you support, which is why I do suggest mixed attack, because they will contextually pick whether to overlap or underlap based on the situation. So it's very useful just having a nice varied fullback going forward to help you out in most situations. For the other right back, guys, the other fullback, sorry, the more defensive one in my case, I have him on stay back and then mixed attack. This is so we always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, and when we send him on a run forward, he'll do mixed attack to sometimes overlap or underlap depending on what's best. As for the 2 centre backs, guys, I leave these alone. You do not need to touch them. Their instructions are fine. And the keeper, if you would like to, you can put him on comes for crosses and sweeper keeper. Doesn't really matter though. I just leave him on balanced. But yeah, that is everything for the video, guys. If you have enjoyed these tactics or found this useful, please be sure to drop it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any of these videos, and don't forget to click that notification bell so you actually get notified when a video is posted. Otherwise, a lot of the time YouTube just won't bother telling you when an upload is live. Pretty stupid, but that's just how it is. And yeah, guys, that's everything. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Love you lots.